Doctor, do you know why tick-borne illnesses are on the rise?
Yeah, the short version is because life's been good for ticks. The mouse population, the deer population is up, and so the ticks have a lot of their favorite animals to feed upon, and so they're growing, they're multiplying. The winters aren't as severe, so they're not dying out as much in the winter, neither are the mice. And so you get an expansion of the tick range, and along with it, an expansion of infected ticks. And that's been the main driver of the Lyme expansion, which is the #1 tick-borne infection in America. And we've seen it really spread in this country.
So, what are the most serious problems mosquito and tick bites can cause?
Well, starting first with ticks, there are more than 65 tick-borne infections, so there's quite a host and range of them. Some of them are fatal and exist in America: Rocky Mountain spotted fever, anaplasmosis, ehrlichiosis, babesiosis. May not be familiar with all of these infections, but they're here, and they're getting infections here and can be fatal. With regard to mosquito, well, and there's also Lyme, which is not typically fatal, but has infected so many people that the burden is very important. With regard to mosquitoes, the #1 infection is West Nile, which rarely is fatal, but certainly can be fatal. And so that's always a concern. Luckily, most of the more famous fatal mosquito-borne infections we don't typically see here: malaria, yellow fever. But we had a little outbreak of Zika in Miami. Sometimes we had little outbreaks of dengue and chikungunya. So there are important mosquito-borne infections that occur in America as well.
So, how do you keep these pests off of us and out of our yards and out of our homes?
Well, step #1 is insect repellent. The bottom line is it works. I recommend that people use it. If they're especially effective against mosquitoes and ticks. If the ticks and mosquitoes don't bite you, you won't catch any infection. #2 is clothing and attire. It's one thing to have shorts on when you're playing tennis. It's an entirely different thing to go hiking out into the woods or tick-infested areas. There you might want to reconsider and wear long pants and boots and tuck your pants inside your socks and long sleeves, so it's less likely that you will get a tick bite or a mosquito bite. Another thing that's very important is doing tick checks upon your return. For instance, the transmission of Lyme disease takes 24 to 48 hours of feeding by that tick. So if you find yourself with the tick at hour 4, you're in plenty of time to remove the tick and not get infected. In and around the house, you want to make sure that all the cracks are sealed. The mosquitoes can't get in through holes in your netting. You want your screens to be working. You want to make sure there's no stagnant water around the house. You want to clear away debris. You want to clear away a lot of bushes because the ticks will be there. And I would refer you to a pest professional if you're not quite sure what your risk is and you need someone to help evaluate your risk and help mitigate it. I'll further say that there are great resources and further information on pestworld.org.
Okay, and if I could follow up, so if we do go out on our hiking or we're outside and we do find a tick on ourselves or our kids or on our pets, how do we remove them?
Tweezers, 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 tweezers. The home remedies usually don't work and have actually increased risk. Get a tweezers, apply it to the tick as close as possible to the skin, slow but steady pressure, pull away, it'll come loose, and you'll be good to go.
And how can we eliminate mosquitoes or ticks on our property? My wife uses the citronella candles outdoors around the deck. Do those work? What can we do to eliminate the pests from even invading our space?
Well, first and foremost, the things we already spoke about with regard to the water and the screens and so forth. Citronella, it's questionable. At minimum, it depends upon the direction that the wind is blowing, right? So I would refer to, insect repellent, and a proper attire is a more secure way to go to protect yourself.
Okay, and finally, can you give us that website again where we can avoid those summertime pests?
It's pestworld.org. One word, pestworld.org.